Big fire in Miami. Body found. What's all that water leaking? What the? Oh, that's from the firefighters. I knew that. Yeah.
The rain pretty much has moved through. We could see it in the camera lens there for a short period of time, but it's actually passed by already. I had very little effect on it, the hoped for effect, but nobody here, nobody that we've seen, has stopped their operation. All the fire streams, all the water continues to pour out. We're seeing a little bit of a change in the displacement of smoke from a little bit earlier, and we believe that that's probably from the effectiveness of the firefighters putting water on this building. The upper floor, which was the one that was the third floor, which was the one where originally the fire was reported, has been consumed pretty much by the fires to the extent that a large portion of the roof collapsed and continued to burn there. They continue to put fire on. We're not seeing nearly as much output of flames as we were earlier, but again, that could be a lull in the activity. Just almost on cue there, you see in the almost the center of the screen there, one of the balconies and one of the little porticos there up on the third floor, flames start to shoot out, and then again right behind the ladder structure there of that platform, we're seeing some more flames. So it's just an ongoing battle here. Firefighters work in shifts here, 20 minutes to 30 minutes on before they need to replace and hydrate and get fresh air bottles, and as part of the regular procedure, stuff that they train for. So they're doing, as we said earlier, obviously the best that they can in a very dire situation. Well, just that construction materials all burn differently, and the firefighters, and part of their training, part of their education, is all of everything from the hazmat and what's toxic and what's not, and what burns at what temperature it burns, all this different stuff, all this different material. That information is shared over the radio and from the units that actually enter the buildings to blueprints and information that is on file with the city, that is shared with the fire department and shared with law enforcement, so that when they find themselves in this kind of situation, they can go and look and see what the construction materials were, what was used, and what that they can anticipate is going to be necessary and to be available to put the fire out. And this is done all over the United States. The greatest infrastructure programs are part of that, and that's why you have this kind of a response and this kind of preparedness and readiness to render aid when a situation like this occurs.
Turn it up. You're gonna hear the helicopter. I didn't realize somebody in the chopper was talking. They need help there. Enough people.
Right down here in this area we were showing a little bit earlier, but most of it's underneath the trees, of course, from the area right here. But we have the firefighters there. That's their command post. And then up the street here, right on River Drive, we've got other support units that have all arrived out here. You can see some of the larger ones there that are prepared to help firefighters in any way, just to get them prepared to go back in. Something else that we can point out is that when this kind of situation occurs, remember the fire departments are staffed 24 hours a day, they'll bring in extra people. They'll bring in off-duty people. They'll even call people back occasionally from vacation and from time off to be involved in firefighting. Most firefighters are eager to do that because it's part of their service pledge. So they'll get all the support that they need and all the numbers of firefighters that they need to handle this. And we'll say right now that we're starting to see a little dissipation of the smoke on our side over here. Maybe a little heavier concentration on the east side. So they're working this fire. That's pretty much what they call it. They're working the fire here, putting assets where they need to be, putting them in place, making sure that it's done safely, and that the firefighters have the best tools and equipment to handle this kind of an operation. Their concern, obviously, the primary concern is to keep the fire from spreading. And when they go into this defensive posture here, they want to make sure that no other outbuildings or anything are affected. And they have pretty much done that job. And to that degree, a fire of this size and this magnitude to be in this situation 2 hours into the firefight is I think is an outstanding look at what the fire department is capable of doing. So certainly there's going to be a loss of property, hopefully no loss of life. We do understand that there were several folks that were transported to area hospitals for observation. We believe there may have been a firefighter involved in that too, smoke inhalation issue. We're working to get more information and determination on that, but information coming in very, very slowly as this firefight continues. News, Skyforce 836. Chris, figure about a half an hour. I don't know if you copied. Figure about a half an hour.
Holiday finished with 26. Later, Holiday getting some attention, dishing it to White, who got a 3.
Suspect, or if it was a self-inflicted wound. Again, they're still going through that investigation, and because he's in critical condition, it's a little hard to get information from that male, but they said he's not an elderly person, but probably in his 40s or 50s with that gunshot wound. They're still not quite sure if they're linking that incident with the gunshot wound to the fire, but it's likely that they did see that fire starting in that same area. But again, that's going to be under investigation when it's all said and done. But the main focus right now is getting this fire under control that has been burning for over 2 hours right here in downtown Miami, again on the corner of Northwest River Drive and Northwest 3rd Street.
All right, Jordan Segundo reporting for us live this morning in downtown Miami. Again, roughly 50 people displaced from this apartment complex. 7 News did have a chance to speak to Miami Fire Rescue. Let's take a listen to what they told us as our cameras interviewed them this morning here shortly ago.
I think one of the challenges that we're facing here is the location. You can see this one street here, and you have to maneuver in between buildings. So even though we're able to get our personnel in, sometimes it's a little difficult to get some additional equipment that will help with trying to extinguish this completely.
And that was, of course, Iggy, Captain Ignatius Carroll there with the Department of Fire in the city of Miami. You can just take a look at your screen right now and see what we're talking about. A massive fire. This all started at around 8:30 this morning. It started at first with a call about the fire, and then officials found a man who had an injury from a gunshot wound. And then the fire from then spread, and then these firefighters, they jumped right into action, started evacuating people, started fighting those flames. So much that has been going on for the last 2 hours. We do have a chance now to talk to 7's Alita Bizio. She's there on the ground. Alita, you just got there. What do you see?
Dozens rescue.
We did just get here, and really we had a hard time kind of weaving around. So we're on the other side of the building. I'm going to have Fabian
look at that thing
over here so you can see what's happening. And what's happening now are these firefighters. They are dousing the area over there with the hose. They've just cut into the fence over there. But the whole area, as you have seen and can imagine, it is just shut down. First responders everywhere. We're talking about Miami Fire Rescue. We're talking about Miami Police. The area we're in, like I said, we're pretty much on the other side of the building because this is as far as we've been able to make it at this point. So we're at Northwest 4th Street and Northwest 5th Avenue, and you can see the firefighters. They continue to work this morning. The fire, as you have heard, spread quickly through that common area of the roof of the building. Several people were trapped and rescued, and many were sheltering in place because of disabilities. We're talking about over 50, though, evacuated. And Alex, as Alex had just mentioned, a person was shot and taken to the hospital. So this is a multi-unit response. Miami
the person's alive?
Miami Fire Rescue here trying to contain all of this. They're working very hard.
I thought they were deceased.
All around here, as you can see, these streets
I gotta
shut
update the
down.
title. My bad, guys.
Fire rescue trucks up and down, trying to contain all of this. So we are going to remain here and gather as much information as we can. And once we have something more, we'll bring that to you. For now, we're live in Miami. Alita Bizios today in Florida.
All right, Elite, so we're going to stay with you here for just a second. I know you said your photojournalist Fabian was showing us those photos of the firefighters shooting through that tree line. Certainly many elements. You can see firefighters here in ladder trucks dousing this from above. As you saw in Elisa's shot that she's showing us now, those firefighters have literally pulled a truck up next to a fence, and they're shooting through that tree line to get to the building. So this just shows that they are trying to fight this from all angles and get this fire put out. You're seeing smoke right now if you're driving down 95. And while it is causing some visibility for drivers, not much of a traffic delay. We had some rain move in. Ralph Rayburn above N7 Skyforest. That rain came and moved out quickly. Did not help as much, but these firefighters working diligently and aggressively to put this blaze out here at this 3-story apartment building.
And we remind you, these are homes. This is happening at what's called the Temple Courts Apartments. It's a rental building. 431 Northwest 3rd Street is the address. This is between I-95 and the Miami River in the city of Miami. On the left side of your screen is that image that you were just looking at, firefighters from the ground fighting. On the right side of your screen, you see those firefighters on the ladders taking this attack from above. That smoke we have been seeing for quite some time now, spreading onto I-95 into the downtown Miami area, affecting those nearby. Ralph Rayburn has been watching that from with us from that vantage point. Ralph, is it safe to say the smoke has decreased a little bit since, I don't know, since maybe the rain started?
I would say just this side of wishful thinking, possibly. It looks like we're getting a little less smoke production with the number of apparatus that are set up here around the fire. We're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are visible from our camera point of view here. 6 streams of water that have been focused on areas and aspects of this fire. We're still seeing a lot of smoke production, but a lot more of that white smoke, which is the favorable kind in a firefight. Not as many outbreaks of flame that we were seeing earlier, but we're also starting to reveal or seeing revealed the damage that is caused when a fire like this occurs, when you have a roof collapse, when you have uncontrolled flames for a long period of time. Everything that's burning is fuel. Everything that's down there, the building materials along with the possessions and the furniture and everything else, that's the carpeting, the wall boards, everything that burns went up in this fire. And I would say that especially the 3rd floor of this apartment is going to be a total loss, if not the entire building. It's a little bit early to say that, but just based on
going back in this shit.
And the scope of
After
this
those
fire,
other buildings in Miami
the
collapsed?
intensity
Hell
of it,
nah.
and the difficult nature of putting that fire out for the fire department here is probably going to be a pretty catastrophic situation as far as the material loss. Fortunately, physical loss, the lives saved, the number of people that were evacuated and are in good hands right now, being given good care. That's the preeminent issue, of course, in anything like this. So that's all of that has already occurred now. So they'll continue to put water on the fire. They'll bring it under control. There'll be a breakdown then where they'll do inspection. There'll be fire marshals and all kinds of investigators that will come out here. There may be, we said earlier that there was a shooting victim that was here, so there's going to be the police involvement there to determine exactly what transpired and if that had any involvement with this. And then, of course, all these displaced people, the American Red Cross and other agencies will be getting involved immediately to find shelter and housing for these people through the next coming days and help them with whatever assistance is available for them, and especially folks that maybe don't have insurance or not carrying insurance. This is going to
I need to actually increase my insurance.
All right, Ralph, and yeah, you touched on it. That's the big priority this morning, was saving those lives and getting those people out of that building. While we stay with your live pictures right now, I want to take you to some audio around just before 9 o'clock this morning when those first calls for help came into 911. Take a listen.
Guys, we also have a patient that's been shot in the torso in front of the building. Advise PD and give me an additional rescue to the assignment, please.
Fire attack is on the west side. Evacs will be on the east side of the structure. I ran through a heavy rescue.
And what you just heard right there was a call for service to 911 dispatch. As you can see, this was within a matter of minutes, a call came through for someone being shot at this building. And just minutes later, then it was a call for fire rescue. The video we showed you was when that fire initially started. It was just on the roof surrounding those AC units. But here in the last few hours or so, it certainly spread. This 3-story building now, certainly, as you heard Ralph Rayburn say earlier, the top floor looks like it's completely destroyed. As investigators will work their way into the scene this morning, assess the damage, firefighters are still fighting, but these people on that 3rd floor at least have seemed to have lost a lot this morning.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the fire started what we believe was the very top of the building, and it spread quickly. We heard fire officials explain that the flames spread rather quickly in the roof or the common area, you know, the ceiling basically on this apartment building. They encountered smoky hallways. They had to deal with evacuations that were risky. As we've mentioned, some of the residents who live here were told were disabled, so it was a challenge to get them out, but they managed to get everyone else out. From what we're told, there were several transports, but someone, I think it was the fire official in the beginning, mentioned that it was smoke inhalations. We don't know if there were any other injuries involved, but in other words, those rescues were successful.
Yeah, you can call that a success because there were no severe injuries. Ralph mentioned that a lot of those people were taken to area hospitals for observation. No yet on the determination of those observations yet. But you can see here firefighters doing what they do best, fighting this fire from all angles. We saw Lisa Bezios' live pictures from earlier. They were showing that ground fight. Firefighters initially cut a hole through a fence trying to get that water up to the roof to shoot it from the ground, as they've also brought out foam from the ground as well, and then roughly 3 to 4 ladder trucks as they douse this from above. We've been watching this for hours now. That smoke does look like it is decreasing a little bit. We had that rain move in, the natural elements, it didn't help us as much, but firefighters still fighting this until it is completely out. But more than this building, Alex, as you said, you touched on this earlier, people have, they had to take what they could and run out of there, get out of there just before 9 o'clock this morning, with some people just to close in the back. We know some of those residents had disabilities, but the safety point was to get them to Loomis Park to get evacuated.
And that is where Jordan had mentioned he saw several people watching this all unfold from there at the Loomis Park. Again, this is between I-95 and the Miami River, and we've been saying that the smoke has decreased just a little bit. Jordan, you're here with us now. You see the smoke has gone down a bit from your end?
Oh, Alex and Tavares, absolutely. And the good news, we're not seeing any flames coming out of the building at the moment. So hopefully that is good news that the fire is slowly getting under control. But as you can see behind me, still a lot of smoke here just coming from the building, but it's not as bad as what it was maybe 15, 20, even 30 minutes ago. We're still seeing some firefighters on the ground with their hoses here. From our perspective, we're not seeing the ladders from our angle, but we're still seeing some of them up on the side. I want to show you, though, just all the foam that is on the roadway here. Again, firefighters have been using a mix of water and foam. Media has been pushed back because that right there is ankle deep. So as you can imagine, a lot of water has been used to fight this fire. And as you can imagine, all the units in that building likely sustaining some water damage as well. But this fire again has been going for over 2 hours. This is again on Northwest 3rd Street. And like you mentioned, when we first arrived to the scene, we were passing by Loomis Park, and that's where firefighters were evacuating residents of the building. We weren't able to speak with anyone at the moment as we were pushed out of the park, but I did see a lot of folks just kind of sitting around watching all of the activity going around them. And we heard anywhere from 40 to 50 residents were evacuated. Some of them were disabled, so some of them needed help getting out of that building. As far as any injuries go, though, we haven't heard of any serious injuries, with the exception of one man who was found with a gunshot wound on the 3rd floor, a gunshot wound to the torso. He was taken to the hospital and is currently listed in critical condition. Now, I did speak with Miami police. As far as the connection between the person who was shot and the fire, they're still trying to piece everything together. And once the fire gets under control, I'm sure all of that will come out in the investigation. But again, still a very active scene out here in downtown Miami. Over 70 firefighters out here, 30 units responding to this big fire in this complex building here in downtown Miami.
Well, Jordan, you just touched on it. 70 firefighters. Talk about the massive response. We're going to stay with your live pictures. If you could, have your photojournalist push into, actually, we'll take you to a shot of the tower cam now. You're looking at a live look over downtown Miami. You can see that smoke from that fire along the river area near 95, pushing across the skyline. So this is what you're seeing this morning as you are making that morning commute. Ralph Rayburn was above N7 Skyports. He says this is not causing traffic delays, but certainly some visibility issues.
Yeah, and also if you're in the area and you're smelling smoke and wondering, hey, what's going on? Well, this is what's going on. A large firefight that started at 8:30 this morning and continues now at 10:47 right now. Yes, the smoke has decreased because we can actually see the ceiling, the roof of this complex. We mentioned there were no more flames, but we stand corrected. On the right side of your screen, there are some flames. Ralph, maybe this is a hot spot, or no, there's a lot, there's still some.
It looks like multiple across that front roof line right there.
Ralph, you're seeing this as well.
Well, yeah. What happens, of course, is that when a combination of the heat from the flames and the water, the weight of the water that you're using to put out the fire starts to weigh on the roof, and it starts to push in and find little gaps and seams, and eventually the combination of those two elements, the roof collapses. It doesn't disappear, it just falls down to the second floor. It continues to burn until it's extinguished. So what they're doing now is there's a lot more conversation on the radio. They're identifying the areas that are still burning that need the water streams to be focused on them. Just moments ago, as you look at the right-hand corner, they said that we have pretty much a heavy concentration of smoke there at that little parapet wall there where you see the barrel tiles, the reddish barrel tiles on the right-hand side of the screen. So you can see that the streams are there coming across from left to right, and then another one from right to left there, trying to get water on that area, that specific area, to knock that down. So they are focusing on specific areas right now. They have not issued that information yet that the fire is either under control or that they have the upper hand, but they are working very steadily, and they seem to be making progress.
Ralph Rayburn reporting for us live again in 7 Skyforce HD. We're now going to turn things to 7's Elisa Bezios on the ground there. Elisa, I know you just arrived a few minutes ago, but you're still assessing the surroundings and the area out there. The big element of this that we haven't seen is the people who are impacted. Is there anyone near you who is evacuated from the building? What can you tell us right now?
You know, from here we see people from neighboring buildings who are just curious, who are outside, who are taking a look. What I want to show you here, because police are about to move us back a little bit, is why don't we show this first here. Over here, the fence area there, firefighters about 20 minutes ago when we had first arrived, they cut through that fence, and that fire truck was spraying as much water as it could. Since then, they have stopped, but we've seen firefighters going in and out. We're really on the other side of the building because, again, it's just all these streets are blocked off with first responders, with City of Miami Fire Rescue, with Miami Police. So we're in the area of Northwest 4th Street and Northwest 5th Avenue. Fabian, why don't we show down this street here, too? You can see some more first responders over there. And again, the people we see standing out here are just people who are curious, who are living in neighboring buildings. As we've been saying all morning, this initial call came in this morning that a person was shot, that person taken to the hospital, and all of a sudden that fire call coming in. We heard from Iggy, who told us that the fire spread quickly through the top area of the roof. Several people were trapped, several people were rescued, but before that rescue, many of them sheltering in place because of disabilities. But all in all, more than 50 people evacuated. We're going to remain in this area and bring you more as we get it. But at this point, we need to send it back to you in studio because police are trying to move us back about half a block. So for now, reporting live in Miami, Lisa Bezios, stay in Florida.
All right, Lisa, stay safe out there. And as you see this live look from our tower cam, you can see, compared to what we've been showing you earlier this morning, there is a significant less amount of smoke out there. But nonetheless, if you are in Miami-Dade, close to downtown Miami, you step outside, you're smelling smoke, you're wondering what's going on. It's because at around 8:30 this morning, a massive fire broke out. A massive fire started at an apartment building in the city of Miami. A 3-alarm fire, just to put things into perspective for you. We're talking about 30 units, more than 70 firefighters gathering here at this building to fight these flames and heavy smoke. You still see smoke on the right side of your screen and on the left side of your screen billowing from this building right now. About 50 people were evacuated. We know that there were several transports. We know specifically that one person who suffered a gunshot wound was transported to the hospital and is now in critical condition. And we tell you this as you're watching this live ladder truck, the firefighters going up in this in the ladder basically to fight the smoke and these flames from up above.
Yeah, and that's just not one, but I've counted roughly 3 to 4 this morning as they're trying to hit this from all angles from the air. You saw Lisa in her live picture show us them trying to get it from the ground, cutting through that tree line to shoot it from the ground, and then Jordan showed us foam on the ground as well. So it's safe to say that the city of Miami has pulled out all resources when it comes to fighting this fire, making sure this fire is out. In the tower cam shots we showed you earlier, we know Miami is no stranger closer to construction, right? There's some construction right there. But what firefighters have done this morning, they've done a good job at keeping this contained to that building because there are so many raw materials around, wood and different things like that, that this certainly could have spread to and caused even more catastrophic event here. But they've done a good job at containing this to the area. They saved lives this morning, got those people out. Those that were disabled, some had to shelter in place, as you mentioned, Alex. But those who made it out over at Loomis Park trying to reassess basically their lives now because they only had seconds or a matter of minutes to get out of there before things got worse.
And not only is it the construction you're talking about, but that building to the left of the building that's on fire, and the one with the burgundy roof on the left, I mean, that's super close. To the building that they're fighting these flames at. And fortunately, it seems like it was all contained, and that was their mission, not only to save lives, but to keep these flames contained to this one building. Again, it's the Temple Courts Apartments in Miami, in the city of Miami, a 3 to 4 story building. As we've been telling you, these flames spread rather quickly. You can just see right now how much smoke we are talking about concentrated right here in this area as these firefighters, these brave firefighters, continue to fight this fire.
Yeah, Ralph Rayburn touched on this earlier. They're doing roughly 20 to 25-minute shifts where they're up here working, and then they're able to switch out with another firefighter and kind of refresh themselves, gather new oxygen tanks and so forth, and then go back and continue to work the fire.
Yeah, and this investigation is just getting started. There are so many questions right now.
So many elements to this. As they put these flames out, because there are still flames and smoke, you're going to have investigators coming in, fire marshals, arson investigators, if that was the case, to kind of see how this started and exactly what damage is left behind. So not only is it a big day for firefighters and investigators, both from the Miami Police Department and City of Miami Fire Rescue, but then you have people who have certainly lost a lot this morning as well.
An impactful day for so many residents. We're talking about 50 people who were evacuated. These are homes. These were people who watched their homes be destroyed right before their eyes. Not what anyone wants to deal with on any day. Fortunately, we understand that they are okay. Some suffering smoke inhalation, but I mean, regardless, it's still a difficult day, an emotional day for so many people, an exhausting day for those firefighters who you're still watching on your screen right now, fighting the smoke. We saw a little bit of rain. We were hoping it would give us a little bit more help.
That came in to help, but yeah, it just moved in and moved right out, so it didn't help as much. But firefighters did not let up even as the rain moved in, so that's a good part here. But again, lives saved this morning. Again, you look at more of these live pictures.
Yeah.
And so to the left of your screen, our producer is telling us those were the initial smoke that was billowing out of the building. So you can see to the left of your screen where when that fire initially started, that was what they were working in the beginning. Here we are now, roughly 2 hours and some later. To the right of your screen, you can see that smoke is kind of letting up, as flames, though, are still burning under there along the roof line and the top of that roof. Again, damage yet to be assessed, but this is what they arrived to and when they initially started. So you can see the work that they put in, fighting this relentlessly from various angles, including the roof, the ground, with foam, with water. But you can just see the aftermath of the work that they've been putting in this morning as well.
As Tavares has mentioned, look at those flames. We don't see those flames right now. On the right side of your screen, like Tavares just mentioned, that's what's happening right now. Live pictures are what you see on the right side. On the left is what they were dealing with, like you said, not too long ago. We had that. Look at the comparison in smoke. It's interesting because Ralph was talking about this.
The difference in the smoke you see and the color is going to be based on the materials because of what the building's made out of, whether it be wood or the insulation and the roof and the walls. And so that's the different various colors of the smoke. But he said that firefighters, they have reports on this. It's done across the country. They kind of know what materials are the building are made of. So when they go to this fights like this, they know exactly what they're up against. But as we said, these live pictures to the right of your screen, this is the after they put the work in right now. So still heavily smoke billowing out of that building, flames somewhat put out, but I think there are some that we saw a few minutes ago under that smoke. But the job's certainly not over yet. Still more work to be done, but certainly better than what it was when they first got there.
Yeah, that is for sure. Down below on the ground, we saw the foam piling up. Jordan at one point said said the foam was ankle deep.
Yeah.
And then Elitza was moved out farther away from the situation. So you can only imagine that the situation is going wider and wider, and more people are being affected there in this particular area of the city of Miami. Again, I say it over and over again, but just so that you know, we're talking about this area in between I-95 and the Miami River, 431 Northwest 3rd Street. It's a Monday morning. People were starting their work week when all of this started. School's out. So then you wonder, were there kids around?
Right.
That brings up a whole other story.
Yeah, so many factors.
I saw that it was a pet-friendly apartment building, so then you wonder, there's just so many questions, and you think of all those people that are affected right now.
Who made it out and exactly what they had to leave behind as they were trying to get out of there. That's the big question this morning.
Yeah.
That not even at that point yet, because we got to get this fire out before they can even move in to assess that.
Yeah.
Most times the Red Cross comes in. I'm sure that's happening right now over at Loomis Park. That's going to be another factor to this story. As we cover things like this, the big issue is the people. That's the part we want to cover. How does this impact lives of the people that are impacted?
Yeah, you saw that wider shot. Now we're tighter on the smoke, but the smoke is still billowing, and it's still going towards I-95. Not as bad as it was earlier this morning, but it is still visible there as Ralph is pulling out, and you see a wider shot. It is, it's still going on to that area, but traffic seems to be moving.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. 7's Jordan Segundo, he is on the ground. He has been there from when this all started, from the very beginning.
Got him over there, yeah.
Yeah, and Jordan, what are you seeing now?
We're actually, after we speak with you, we're going to have to move a little bit because we're getting pushed out by all the water and the foam that is being collected right here on the roadway on Northwest River Drive. I'm not sure if firefighters are trying to find the gutters to let the water out, but yes, definitely flooding happening right next to the Miami River on the roadways here, because as you can see, a lot of water and foam is being used to douse these flames. Now, a lot of the firefight right now is focused on this one corner that we're seeing. We're on the western edge of Loomis Park, so that's the western edge of that complex building that you're seeing. Right now, from our vantage point, in our perspective, we're seeing one hose being used on the ground and one ladder on this side, but I know there are multiple ladders being used in this firefight. Again, like you mentioned, it has been burning for over 2 hours. Progress has been made. It has the smoke is not as black or as thick as what it once was, but again, after 2 hours, you would hope things would be put out even quicker, but they're still fighting it from this perspective. Again, a whole lot of firefighters and police still on scene, because once this fire is put out, now the investigation will begin. Now, earlier when we first arrived to the scene, we did see about 40 to 50, maybe even 75 people evacuated to Loomis Park. We tried to get in there, but were quickly rushed out. We did see a mix of senior citizens. We didn't see any kids at the moment, but they were literally right across from this complex watching their home go up in flame. Now, the initial call was for a fire in the building on the 3rd floor. But again, when firefighters arrived, they did find one male with a gunshot wound to the torso who was transported to the hospital. Miami police tell me they're not quite sure if they're looking for a suspect yet or if it was a self-inflicted wound, as that male is listed in critical condition, so they're still trying to get information from him. Right now, though, there are no words of any other major injuries. I know we did see some people being transported to the hospital by ambulance earlier this morning, even a firefighter going into an ambulance as well. The elements out here, we're dealing with the heat, the sun. We did even get a little bit of the rain. Right now, things are a bit calm as far as the winds go, but that firefight is still being focused, at least on our perspective, on that one corner unit there, as firefighters use a lot of water and foam that is now being collected here on the roadways. But we're continuing to bring you as much coverage from our perspective as we can throughout the morning hours here.
All right, Jordan, we're going to stay with you for just a second here. Your photographer is focusing on some of that roof line damage. If you can just push in a little more, you see them still dousing those flames from the ground, but you can see that heavily damaged roof line, that smoke and fire pretty much charred that balcony right there. That's just some of the damage we're seeing after this 3-alarm fire in downtown Miami this morning.
Absolutely, and as you can imagine, a lot of fire damage, but also a lot of water damage as well. So a lot of folks will be going home, or possibly not even going home to anything. Looks like some of the units are a complete loss this morning, unfortunately.
And Jordan, you were talking about the foam. It's interesting to see how that foam has gotten even closer and closer or let me say, away from the where it started. I guess it started by those bushes you see there, and now it's protruding now onto the sidewalk.
Oh, yes, on the sidewalk. I had to step out of the way. Our photographer, Matt, he is being a trooper this morning because he is now about ankle deep in the foam that is being pushed a little closer towards the Miami River. But looks like it's all collected against, all on the roadways. I think the gutters might have been clogged to allow some of that to drain here. But firefighters, over 70 on scene here trying to fight this fire, again, with a mix of that foam and that water. A lot of cleanup will be happening throughout the day here. And again, that big investigation now will determine how that fire started. And of course, with that one male who was transported in critical condition with that one gunshot wound to the chest.
All right, Jordan Segundo reporting for us live again in downtown Miami following this street-alarm fire that broke out just before 9 o'clock this morning. What we know at this hour is several people are displaced, roughly 50, including residents of all backgrounds, some of them with disabilities. They were rushed out of the building this morning over to Loomis Park. You're taking a look now at live pictures from 7 Skyforce. This fight continues right now. You see those firefighters in ladder trucks still fighting this from every angle. Those hoses not letting up anytime soon as they work to continue to fight this fire. As you see that smoke billowing from your across your screen, we can tell you it started way worse than this. This was also spreading somewhat across I-95. It did cause some visibility issues this morning. Again, that rain moved in. We got a little bout of rain, but it didn't help as much as firefighters continue their fight trying to put this fire out.
And as you see the smoke on the top left side of your screen, the firefighters on the bottom and the right side of your screen. On the bottom right side is that foam that we have seen increase throughout the morning. Just one of the tools used to fight these flames. Again, this is happening in Miami, the city of Miami, between I-95 and the Miami River. If you're familiar with this area, it's not too far from the popular Casablanca Seafood Bar and Grill and Garcia's, Kiki on the River. These are restaurants so many people frequent often, and so many nearby homes too. And as we've been mentioning, Tavares, the fact that these flames stayed contained in that building was a success for these firefighters, because that was one of their missions, that and rescuing those who were at their home when this all happened. You can now see all those firefighters lining up on the street there. We've seen these several units, about 30 different fire units from the city of Miami responding here. And you can see those firefighters as they line up the street there on the right side of your screen. Earlier, we didn't get to show you much, but there were some firefighters on fireboats there.
Along the river.
Correct.
Right, bringing additional resources.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that. They were bringing in various resources. We talked about the foam, the water, ladder trucks. They were cutting through fence lines to shoot through the tree line to make sure they were getting this from all angles. But that just speaks to the resources that they have, that we're so lucky to have here in the city of Miami, as they were pulling on every resource in their toolbox to get this thing under control. Right now, I think we're going to send things to 7's Elite Sabizio. She has someone to speak with. Elite, so we'll send it back to you.
Tavares, so we're on the other side of the building here. We are at Northwest 4th and Northwest 5th Avenue. And over here, what we have seen, the people we're talking to are those who live in homes surrounding this building that has caught fire. We were told around 8:30 when this fire broke out, people living in homes, in apartments over here, police knocking on the door and saying you need to get out for your safety. Many of those people we've talked to this morning really just scared and not wanting to go on camera. But we have Jay over here, and Jay, you walked out this morning. Tell me what you saw, what you thought.
Okay, so when I came out, I just seen a lot of smoke, and I heard obviously a lot of sirens and stuff. I saw people coming out, some panicking, some not. And I just seen a lot of flames, and my first reaction was like, damn, like what's going on, And I just hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody got out on time, Hopefully everybody's pets was able to leave.
Yeah, we know that about over 50 evacuated, and we're hoping everyone is doing okay. But, talk to me about how scary it is to be in this moment, to see these flames, to see this smoke. I mean, and you're here, you're right here.
I was literally across the building, It could just be another day, and I could be in that building. It's very scary. It's very crazy, hectic situation. And like I said, I hope everybody's all right. You know what I mean? I hope everybody got out safely. and I feel like they're doing a good job over here. I see a lot of workers, you know.
Yeah, Miami Fire Rescue, Miami PD, they are the best of the best. We've seen them working out here, and now at this point we see some people walking up and down the street, but really police shutting down the area. I know, Jay, you're trying to get back to your friend's house, so we'll let you go so you can get back to where you need to be. But thanks for talking with us. I'm happy, that you're safe, and we really hope everyone is doing okay that was taken out of that building. But all this breaking out, right around 8:30 this morning in this area here, it's all shut down. The area surrounding where this building is shut down. People in nearby homes, they've been evacuated, and as we can all imagine, as we heard from Jay just now, just really terrifying that this has happened. But there is so much there are so many first responders here, such a great police presence, such a great presence from Fire Rescue, the people we've talked to, saying that, you know what, even though this is a scary situation, they are happy that they are in the city of Miami and that they are being protected by these first responders. So another thing happening now, it's starting to rain again. Earlier there was a pretty good downpour, which, maybe helped just a little bit. So hopefully this rain here that's coming down will help those firefighters and help get any of those spots, those fire spots out and extinguished. But again, we're on the other side of where this building has caught fire, talking to people living nearby who really just say, this is a terrifying situation, but their thoughts really are with the people who were inside, the more than 50 who were evacuated. So we will remain here and continue to just gather elements.
Okay, Lisa, I'm sorry, we're going to interrupt you. Mayor Francis Suarez is speaking. Let's listen in.
Downtown. We arrived on the scene. We found that one person had been shot. That person has been transported to JMH Hospital. At the same time, our firefighters responded to this fire and saw that this fire was escalating in intensity. They rescued several people, including some people that were rescued from their balconies. The fire is continuing, and now they have come outside of the building to fight the fire from the outside in. It's an active investigation, an active scene, so we don't have much details referencing the number of people that were in the building, that have come out of the building. What we do know is that we have a staging area here for residents, and that we will be moving them from here to Jose Marti Park to give them food and whatever medicines that they may need. I had an opportunity to speak to them and talk to them, and they seem in relatively good spirits, given the fact that obviously they're in a situation that is incredibly difficult for them and for their families to witness.
Are there any casualties?
It's an active investigation. It's too early to tell. The fire department, the police department will be updating you periodically throughout the day if there are any casualties.
We're going to do Spanish now, and then we'll do questions.
Okay,
thank you.
Aproximadamente a las 8:15 de la mañana.
Okay, if you're just listening in, you're taking a look at live pictures. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez briefing the media on what his first responders happened to come upon this morning. These are pictures from this morning. You can see the smoke billowing out of this building. This all happening just before 9 o'clock this morning along North River Drive and 3rd Street at the
Temple Court
apartment complex. We're told this is 1-bedroom and studio apartments. The mayor is saying that there's no reports of any casualties, or not yet at least, as they continue to assess the damage and the impact this has made on the lives of so many this morning. We do know, however, over 50 people were evacuated from this building. They were taken to Loomis Park initially. The mayor, however, saying that they were now being transported to Jose Martin Park, where they will receive some resources as well as food as they kind of assess the damage. We imagine the Red Cross is there also stepping in. The mayor is continuing to speak. We'll listen back in, or
it seems like he's doing back and forth between
Okay.
Spanish and English. So if our producer can tell us if he says something to us in English to listen in. Oh, let's listen in really quick.
A tremendous amount of our resources are dedicated. There's multiple points that water's entering into the building. They're trying to contain the fire in a section of the building so it doesn't spread any further. But as you can see, this is a very active scene right now.
Yeah, so you can tell he's addressing both Spanish and English at the same time. It is the city of Miami.
And this is impacting so many people.
Correct. Yeah. You know, we're talking about 50 people who were removed from their homes, evacuated from their homes. So both languages are necessary right now, without a doubt. So that's what you're seeing on the left side of your screen. The mayor, Francis Suarez, addressing the media. As Tavares mentioned, these residents who were impacted were going to be moved from Loomis Park to Jose Marti Park. That is where they will be receiving some food. I believe the mayor is now speaking in English. Just listening.
Fire, but this is a 3-alarm fire. We haven't had one in 25 years. And so this is something that is obviously a large event for us. And they're doing a heroic job in dealing with it, including rescuing residents throughout this incident.
So it seems like he was just saying that we haven't seen a residential fire in the city of Miami like this, a 3-alarm fire in 25 years.
Alex, you mentioned this earlier. We cover stuff like this all the time, but to be in a residential neighborhood and impacting so many people in a building like this,
it's been
25 years,
It's been a while, and there's a confirmation from the mayor. On the left side of your screen, this is video from earlier this morning. As Tavares mentioned, this started between 8:30 and 9. You can see how intense those flames were when this fire started, how dark and thick that smoke was. Again, this was earlier this morning. Since then, we have seen those flames go down. We have seen the smoke decrease. But those firefighters, they haven't moved.
They have not let up.
They've been there the entire time.
And you said it was 70 or more there taking shifts to fight this. Let's listen back into the mayor. I guess he is addressing us in English again.
In a section of the building and hope that it doesn't spread to any other buildings. No se sabe en este momento. We got a call at about 8:15 in the morning from several people about an active fire. When our fire department arrived, they saw that there was also a gunshot victim. That person was transported to JMH, and then they started to battle the fire. No, it's too soon to tell. It's active right now, the investigation.
Last question, la última.
Okay, so it seems like it's the last question right now. Let's listen in still.
Para contener el fuego en una sección del edificio y no el resto del edificio o en otros edificios. Gracias. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so nothing. Quickly, he just said that the mission from the beginning was to contain the fire, the flames where they started.
And you know they've done a good job of doing that. Alex, you talked about the proximity.
This is a unified command.
Okay, let's listen to police now.
Closely with the fire department and making sure that everyone is safe, everyone feels secure. This is an isolated incident. We need the public to understand that. It is still very active with everything, but we don't want people to be alarmed. And we are handling it to the best of our abilities. Thank you.
Okay, and this woman appears to be...
Meaning that we don't have a gunman that we don't know who he is. Okay?
Have you been able to ascertain if this was self-inflicted or somebody...
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time.
So you're not looking for anybody specific?
We're not looking for right now. Right now, it's an isolated incident. We're still investigating. Okay? We're still looking into all of those angles. Still looking into all of those angles. But just know that this particular incident is isolated to this situation. Okay? Thank you.
Besides officer, besides the man,
That's good.
Is there any other injuries to residents?
No, not at this time.
Yeah, I'll handle that question.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to be brief, okay? Like they mentioned before, we're working together with all city entities to make sure that this concludes as safe as possible. We went to a defensive strategy because it is too dangerous for the firefighters to work inside at this point. We're working together with police. We're trying to account for all the number of residents, how many lived in the building. We're working with Red Cross. So once we have all the information, we will give it to you, but it's an active scene, so we don't have the numbers nor the details right now, okay? Como le dije, estamos trabajando ahora con la policía.
Okay, and just moments ago, you heard from Officer Thomas Butler with the Miami Police Department. She was telling the media here the shooting aspect of this investigation and incident appears to be an isolated incident. This call, again, came in, if you heard the mayor say, call came in initially as a fire. When the firefighters arrived, they learned that a man was shot in the upper torso. That man has been taken to an area hospital in critical condition. So you can see this is an investigation from multiple angles. You have the fire side as well as a gunshot gunshot investigation. You also heard from Lieutenant Pete Sanchez there at Miami Miami Fire Rescue rather. He says that it's still early to tell exactly what the damage is and the impact that this has had on the people who were evacuated. Again, those people taken to an area park, Jose Martin Park, where they're receiving some resources as well, food and things like that. It's unclear who will need shelter because, again, this was a 3-story building. It's safe to say from the footage we've been rolling this morning and these live pictures we've been bringing you here on 7 News that 3rd floor is severely damaged. It's unclear exactly what the lower floors, how they're impacted, but water over the whole building as you saw these firefighters fighting this from all angles, both in the air, on the ground, and with foam. So this is certainly a big scene this morning, far from being over yet, the work far from done.
And going back to what the officer with the city of Miami was saying, the fact that this was an isolated incident, they are not looking for a gunman, that's important information right now, because if you're in the area and you hear that all this started after a man was found with a gunshot wound inside of this building before this massive fire erupted, you may be concerned. Well, that officer just a short time ago said that there's no worry, you should not be worried about that. They're not looking for anybody. It's an isolated incident. But like Tavares mentioned, this investigation, it's just getting started. Not only is the investigation getting started, but earlier we made a point that the cleanup throughout the day today will be getting started once this is all over, because if you live in that area, it's impacting you. The water, the surrounding water.
And this foam that's covering the ground as well right now.
Yeah, so that's something else that's important to talk about. The mayor basically said that they have the resources needed, and like you said, that those residents that were evacuated were going to be sent to now Jose Marti Park to get food, medicine, whatever it is that they needed. He did say, though, that they were in good spirits, so that was at least good to hear.
Yeah, and you know, who wants to wake up to something like this around before 9 o'clock in the morning, right? You're starting the beginning of your work week only to find out, you know, your building's on fire and then someone's been shot as well on the 3rd floor. So quite a devastating day for people here in downtown Miami at this building specifically. But people who live by, you heard Elite Savicios earlier talking to a young man who lived just across the street. He was impacted as well, you know, trying to navigate through this because traffic is closed down. It's also going to be affecting local businesses in the area. Alex, you talked about this being along the river where a lot of people eat and dine at those restaurants as well.
Yeah. And the smoke, even if you don't live in downtown Miami, I bet you're smelling the smoke, maybe seeing the smoke. If you're in the Jackson Memorial Hospital complex, if you even live a little bit farther, Marlins Park or Lone Depot Park, excuse me, is not far from there. So that entire area, Little Havana, that entire area, you must be seeing, feeling something. And if you're wondering what it is, it's this. These were recorded, this is a recorded video from earlier this morning. Since this started and since this video was shot, the smoke has decreased, the flames have gone down. So that's the good news. There has been significant progress since this all started between 8:30 and 9. But this is what so many were dealing with not that long ago.
And we saw more rain moving in as the mayor was speaking. Not sure if it'll help in the fight. We got a little bout of rain earlier, didn't make much of an impact, but this is what's still going on here. We'll send things right now back out to 7's Elite Savizio. She's live with more on how this is still unfolding. Elitza.
Well, Tavares, you know, you really said it and pointed out the rain. The rain in this situation, it has to help even a little bit with those hot spots as firefighters continue to make sure this fire is completely put out. You know, we've talked to people who live in the area. Obviously, number one, the people who live in that apartment unit, that building that caught fire, terrifying moments for them. But their neighbors in neighboring homes and neighboring apartments, they told us that police knocked on their door really right as that fire broke out around 8:30 this morning, saying, get out, it is for your safety. Scary moments, they say, but you know what else they say? They say they are grateful that police are here, that fire rescue is here. I'm going to step out of the way so you can kind of see what's going on here, and it's really what we've been seeing all morning. And what we've been seeing all morning is that the roads surrounding the complex that has caught fire, those are shut down. What we've been seeing is a heavy police fire rescue presence for obvious reasons, and we have seen these first responders working and not stopping to make sure these flames were put out. As we've said, several people, over 50, rescued outside, taken out of that building that caught fire. And also, as we've been mentioning this morning, there's also an investigation as to how and why a person was found shot in this area near the building. At this point, all of this is happening now. So when it comes to the whys, the investigation, we've got some time to get to that. But what we do know is that these people that were in that apartment unit, they were evacuated. The people living down this street in the area surrounding that complex, they've also been evacuated. And really, it's just Miami Fire Rescue, Miami PD working together this morning to make sure that everyone is safe and they, keep the community safe. And that's what they do. And that's why we're thankful for them. And, the people we've talked to saying they really do appreciate our first responders. But over here, again, we're kind of on the outskirts of the building because we couldn't get much closer. We're at Northwest 4th and Northwest 5th Avenue, and really around here it's people who live in the area who were not inside the complex when the fire broke out, but they live in the surrounding buildings, homes, apartments, who this morning were woken up to that smoke, that fire, but were able to get out safely.
All right, Elites, and as we stay on your live pictures or wrap you up right here, we're going to take you back to those initial calls of service when this all came in just before 9 o'clock this morning. You heard the mayor talk a moment ago. He told us that this initially came in as a call for a fire, but when Miami Fire Rescue arrived on the scene, that's when they found a man shot. Take a listen to this.
Guys, we also have a patient that's been shot in the torso in front of the building. Advise PD and give me an additional rescue to the assignment, please.
Fire attack is on the west side. Evacs will be on the east side of the structure. I ran through a heavy rescue.
Okay, so then after that call first came in, then this is what unfolded. This massive fire, so large that the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez, a short time ago actually confirmed that the city has not had, they haven't had a residential fire of this length, a 3-alarm residential fire in 25 years. So you can just imagine what it was like when these firefighters responded, when those people were evacuated, some being saved from their balcony, some being told to shelter in place despite what was going on. I remind you, this all started at around 8:30, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock this morning. And since then, those firefighters have been out there. We've seen it rain twice.
Yes.
It rained a bit earlier. I feel like it's raining more now.
Yeah, that first one was really quick. It didn't really help us much, but they didn't let up.
No.
You talked about the impact. More than 70 firefighters fighting this thing in 25-minute shifts as they were getting on and off from the ground with ladder trucks near fence lines. They were cutting through trees and fences to shoot that water up to the building. You have multiple bucket trucks like you're seeing on your screen right now, roughly 3 to 4 of those, spraying it from above, dousing it with water as well. Then there was the element of foam. We had Jordan Segundo out there. He says the foam was ankle deep. One of our photojournalists, Matthew, standing in it as well, trying to give us the story, but still show just the impact and condition out there as well. This foam ankle deep as they were trying to get this thing from various elements. We also saw resources coming in via the Miami River on a boat. Miami Fire Rescue bringing a boat in to bring resources from the river to aid in this attack on the building. And you see this video and you just cannot help but think of those who are impacted firsthand. Those are some aggressive flames. That smoke is thick and they're scary, and those are homes. As we've been telling you, this all happening at the Temple Courts Apartments at 431 Northwest 3rd Street between I-95 and the Miami River in the city of Miami. This is a rental building. We have small units here, studios, 1-bedroom units. It's a pet-friendly building. School's out, so you wonder if there were any kids living here. We don't know if it was a senior facility or not. It didn't say so on its website. So we're talking about families. They were evacuated, as we've been telling you. We haven't heard from them yet, because you could imagine why. I mean, they're dealing with quite a lot at the moment. We do know that they're going to be moving to Jose Marti Park, not that far from there, to get food, medication, whatever it is that they need. That was according to the mayor. Also important to mention, Tavares, again, is what the officer said with the city of Miami. Yes, we heard from Officer Thomas Butler, who with the Miami Police Department. She said that this was an isolated incident. And so while this fire investigation takes place, they're also looking into a shooting investigation. She says there is no search for a gunman right now. There is, the community is safe in that regard as they continue to peel apart the pieces of this shooting investigation.
Right.
We know that victim is a man who was shot in the upper torso. He's not been identified yet, at least by police to the media or to us. But we do know that person is in critical condition. It's unclear exactly what led to that shooting and if the fire was a result or connected to the shooting itself. So many elements and unanswered questions this morning as we here gather to work and get more information for you as well.
Yeah, and you can see the smoke billowing into the air, those firefighters attacking those flames from up above. Earlier, we saw as the smoke was spreading on I-95 and into the city, affecting those nearby. I'm sure you're smelling it or smelled it over earlier this morning.
So air quality and visibility, both the issue this morning if you're traveling down 95 and in that whole downtown Miami region.
Yep. And then you're looking at those flames, just how massive and aggressive they were. These firefighters working feverishly to get this extinguished. We're not showing you live pictures, by the way, right now because it's raining out there. So 7 Skyforce was up above earlier, but because of the weather, we had to move away from that sky image. This, though, is a view from our tower cam. It's a bit hazy. I'm sure our meteorologist can tell us, but perhaps it's hazy because of the smoke. Because it was not like this earlier.
Yeah, so we've seen this get progressively worse.
Correct.
You know, when Ralph first put this up, we first brought this and Ralph was showing us that wide shot when he panned across 95. It had some visibility, but now this is hard to see through. You would think that this was fog on a regular day or something like that.
Correct. Earlier it was, you can see the buildings and then you can see the smoke just billowing narrowly up, you know, it was contained. And now it seems like it's hazy. It kind of like spread out. So it just, of course, makes you wonder what it feels like and looks like out there.
Or other senses like smells,
Correct.
right? What am I inhaling in as I'm trying to travel through downtown this morning?
Right. So if you're just waking up, I mean, it's 11:28, but if you're just watching us right now and you're wondering what is going on, let us take you back to the very beginning. At around 8:30, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, this is what happened. This is what started. This massive residential fire erupted. It came in as a call about a fire, but then officials learned that there was a man with a gunshot wound. And then when they arrived is when they realized just how massive this fire is. So massive that the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez, told us a little while ago that they haven't dealt with such a big residential fire in the city of Miami in 25 years. And these are the flames those firefighters had to fight. That's the smoke that they had to deal with. And that is what those residents looked up at and saw as they were told to leave.
Yeah, before they even started their day, right?
Correct.
As you're trying to get out the door, or some people might have already made it to work, but on a Monday morning, right before 9 o'clock, talk about devastation, grabbing what you have and getting out the door. A lot of those people sent over to an area park, but now they've been relocated to Jose Marti Park. They were at Loomis Park initially, but now resources being brought in to help them. Again, this all happening at 431 North 3rd Street?
Northwest
3rd Street at the Temple Court Apartments. And so it's unclear exactly who lived here. Was it senior citizens? We're not sure as far as, you know, as we work to learn more. But this is just what's happening. We're told some of the people being evacuated, they had disabilities. So, Alex, as you mentioned earlier, not everyone could run down the flight of stairs or get out, but they had to shelter in place.
Yeah.
So that was another factor
or
as well.
be saved from their balcony even.
Yeah. So
because they did mention that. Look, this is what it looks like right now from the ground. And
so more of that haze across your screen. Yeah.
Yep. So maybe that is what we were talking about earlier is in fact what's going on, because this is what those who are on the ground are now dealing with and what they see. The smoke, the residue now coming down and affecting those nearby. I would assume that health experts would tell you to not go outside during this time. If you have asthma or if you deal with, I don't know, allergies or asthma, I would think is the most important thing. And respiratory issues is what I wanted to say. If you have respiratory issues, you probably don't want to go outside. You want to stay inside because this can't be good for you.
Right. So what we were talking about earlier is as this burns, right, they're still putting water on this to put it out. So many elements on that building, right? Building materials, insulation, wood, cement, whatever's burning. You're going to be breathing that in, right? So Ralph mentioned this earlier as you saw those pictures of the different variations of the color of smoke, right? So look along the roof line, see how it's darker there. Ralph talked about that being most likely insulation, how it's burning darker from the roof line, but when they put water on it, you can see the variation and the change in the color of smoke. Whereas they might be fighting it from another angle, you might get a different color. So it's all these elements and parts and pieces that, of course, construct a building, and that's what's burning off this morning. Alex, I want to say what's amazing is when we first took this morning, just around 8:30. We interrupted our 8 o'clock hour to bring these live pictures as a news alert. It was not this bad.
No.
It got progressively worse, and now we're kind of seeing some of that curtail off, but it's still far from over right now.
Yeah, and then as we've been mentioning, the investigation is just getting started.
Right.
So the firefight continues. It's not what you're seeing there. This is what it was earlier, but the firefight continues nonetheless. But the investigation is going to get started.
Yeah.
The cleanup effort gets started, and these lives, these people, unfortunately now they are.
Displaced, right? How do we house them? How do they get the resources they need? So many unanswered questions this morning. I can tell you we're working behind the scenes right now, our entire staff working to gather those answers for you and bring them to you both on air and online and inside of the 7 News mobile app this morning as well.
Yeah, and if you are a resident, if you know someone who's affected by this firsthand, we are working to get information on where and what resources are available to them. We are, I'm sure, gathering information also at the hospital because, like we've been mentioning, there were several transports. Not only that man in critical condition who had a gunshot wound, but there were others who were transported. We were told initially that it was smoke inhalation.
Right, for observation.
Correct.
But it could be more than that.
Right. We're waiting to find that out and confirm that. At one point, someone mentioned maybe a firefighter was also injured, so we're working on getting more information on that as well. But as you take a look at your screen right now, this is what firefighters were dealing with earlier this morning. Those flames, the black thick smoke. This is a 3-alarm fire. I remind you, over 30 units, more than 70 firefighters, men and women out there fighting these flames and protecting nearby buildings because these flames did not spread. I say that like that because those buildings are very close. When we showed you earlier, well, you see one right here on the bottom of your screen, there's a white one. I mean, you can see how close. And then on the other side, there was one,
Another one close by. Yeah.
Super, very, very close.
So in that regard, we would say that this was they were successful at containing it to this building. While the fight's far from over, so it could have been far worse, right? It could have spread to more buildings, more people impacted, and who knows what.
Right. So again, if you're just joining us right now, more than 50 people were rescued from what you're looking at right now. They were rescued. They were evacuated from this building that looked like this not too long ago. These people were rescued from their balconies. Some were told to shelter in place. Others were taken through a smoky hallway. You can just imagine what those firefighters, the stories they have to tell about those rescues and what they did. This area, by the way, in the city of Miami is between I-95 and the Miami River, not too far from the popular restaurants so many like to go to, Garcia's, Casablanca, all of them, Kiki by the River. They're all right there. So this is a very populated area. The mayor, Francis Suarez, spoke not too long ago talking about the work that these brave men and women did this morning and the work that still has to be done.
Yeah. Talk about the number of resources that we're able to, we're so lucky to have right here in the city of Miami. I mean, they came in, they're fighting this thing from all points of vantage, the ground, the air with foam coming from the river. So how blessed we are to be in a city where the resources are available when we need them.
Yeah.
We don't always have to use them, but when we do need them, it's great that they can pull this out and just get right to work this morning. This fight certainly not letting up, but these firefighters certainly amazing. 70 plus coming out of everywhere this morning to help and put this out. And then the people who are impacted, that's where my heart goes out to this morning. We know we cover these big stories, fires and different things, but it's the people element that really pulls at your heartstrings, because after all this is done and the investigation is complete, then what's the process after that? How do they rebuild? How do they get back to some sense of normalcy and return to their regular lives? So certainly something to think about this morning as well.
A difficult process, without a doubt. On the right side of your screen is what it looked like earlier. On the left side of your screen is a view from our tower cam, and that's what it looks like right now. You can see how hazy it is at the moment. We had some rain. There were 2 different episodes where we saw some rain earlier and then not that long ago when the mayor was speaking. And then that's the aftermath, right? That's what everyone is dealing with right now, probably smelling that. I would assume that if you do have respiratory issues, you're probably going to be advised not to go outside if allowed, if you're able to, or maybe cover your mouth and nose when going to your car or inside into a building, let's say. It's definitely something you want to keep in mind. You were talking about those firefighters. You know what else we haven't really talked about? The heat outside.
Yeah.
it's so hot. And that's why it was important to give them those 20 to 30 minute shifts so those firefighters can rehab, they
get
can
water and
refuel.
get more oxygen tanks. And here we are now, not even in summer yet. Remember, summer is not here, but we're getting those hot temperatures here in South Florida, as well as the rest of the country is also under certain heat advisories as well. We talk about that from day to day, but that's, again, another element right here in South Florida. Not only the flames and heat from the actual building fire, but the natural elements of the heat outside as well.
Correct. So you see now on the right side of your screen, still recorded video. I remind you, we don't have live images at the moment from up above or on the ground because of the weather outside. But our crew, several crews, are out there gathering the information and speaking to whoever they can. We haven't been able to speak to those residents who were affected to hear their sides of the story just yet. But we do have those crews working that information for you. On the left side is that view from Tower Cam, as I mentioned, where you can see just how hazy it is outside. Again, all of this unfolding between 8:30 and 9 at Temple Courts Apartments, a rental building. 431 Northwest 3rd Street is the address, and that is where residents were evacuated from early this morning. We had the opportunity to hear those calls for help. Well, actually, the calls amongst the firefighters and first responders.
Yeah, so the initial calls for service.
Right. Let's listen in so that you can get an idea of what these first responders dealt with.
As we also have a patient that's been shot in the torso in front of the building. Advise PD and give me an additional rescue to the assignment, please.
Fire attack is on the west side. Evacs will be on the east side of the structure. I'm after heavy rescue.
Okay, so when those initial calls came in, what you just heard was audio from when a call comes into 911. Not the part where you hear the caller speaking, but this is the dispatch amongst dispatchers at the 911 Operations Center to first responders, how they're going to get crews out there on the ground responding to whatever emergency event they have going on. So initially, this call came in as a fire, and it was when Miami Fire Rescue arrived on the scene, they then came to find a man who had been shot. So certainly many developments and elements to this investigation this morning. A short time ago, we had a chance to listen to or speak with Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, and here's what he had to say as far as what his crew was doing and how his officials were handling this. Let's take a listen.
So at approximately 8:15 this morning, we got several calls referencing a fire at this location behind us next to Loomis Park in downtown. We arrived on the scene. We found that one person had been shot. That person has been transported to JMH Hospital. At the same time, our firefighters responded to this fire and saw that this fire was escalating in intensity. They rescued several people, including some people that were rescued from their balconies. The fire is continuing, and now they have come outside of the building to fight the fire from the outside in. It is an active investigation, an active scene, so we don't have much details referencing the number of people that were in the building, that have come out of the building. What we do know is that we have a staging area here for residents, and that we will be moving them from here to Jose Marti Park to give them food and whatever medicines that they may need. I had an opportunity to speak to them and talk to them, and they seem in relatively good spirits, given the fact that obviously they're in a situation that is incredibly difficult for them and for their families to witness.
All right, you heard the mayor there say the people that were evacuated, many had to be rescued, some from balconies, some disabled. More than 50 residents. He says they're in good spirits, and that's something, you know, it speaks to the spirit of Miami, right? You're dealing with a disaster like this, your home up in flames, but you're still in good spirits and able to kind of be responsive to the people that are trying to help you, as they right now have been moved to Jose Marti Park to receive the resources they need. On your screen right now, live pictures from in the area. Alex, you talked about this earlier. Look at that haze from the building. This is the smoke that is now coming down to the ground, impacting air quality and visibility for people. I mean, just imagine living on the street, you're stepping outside this morning to, I don't know, pick up your morning newspaper, and it's covered in smoke. So if you have any respiratory issues, you certainly want to stay in the house this morning if you live in this area. Again, this is in the area of the 400 block of Northwest 3rd Street, down by the Miami River area. This fire breaking out at the Temple Court Apartments. We're now going to listen in to Miami police as they talk about the other side of this investigation after a man was shot. Listen in.
We just want to make sure that everyone knows that this is a unified command. So we are working very closely with the fire department and making sure that everyone is safe, everyone feels secure. This is an isolated incident. We need the public to understand that. It is still very active with everything, but we don't want people to be alarmed. And we are handling it to the best of our abilities.
Okay, and that was Officer Thomas Butler with the Miami Police Department. She talked about that unified command. That means that Miami Police and Miami Fire Rescue are working jointly on this, as it is a two-sided investigation. So many unanswered questions this morning as we have our crews behind the scene trying to gather more pieces to this. But the most impactful thing that's happening right now is the people that are impacted. 50-plus residents now displaced this morning over at Jose Marti Park, as they receive more resources and try to assess what they have left behind. We had to get evacuated from their homes this morning just before 9 o'clock.
Right, and live on your screen right now is what it looks like from the ground. You can see the smoke still billowing in the air, causing what is a very hazy situation for the city of Miami. It looks like it is more contained than what we saw earlier this morning. You can see the water, though, on the ground. Yes, we had rain, but you can only assume, and because we've seen the effects this firefight has had on the nearby area in this neighborhood, these fire trucks continue to line the streets. That haze is continued to be seen on the ground, and it's all because of what you see now on your screen. This is what it looked like earlier this morning. On the right side of your screen is recorded video. On the left side of your screen is live images from the ground. Just how hazy the situation is. I'm not sure if that's maybe a resident that you saw a second ago taking pictures, trying to record what's going on, because this is a situation, I remind you, that has not been seen in the city of Miami for about 25 years, according to Mayor Francis Suarez. A massive fire of this magnitude of a residential area or residential building, I should say. It's not something that they've dealt with in a really long time. So I bet those in the area are going outside to take images, take pictures and videos of what they're seeing.
Yes, people try to piece this together this morning. You know, what am I waking up to? That's the big question in this neighborhood. Several businesses in the area, it's unclear if they're impacted, but we talked about those people who were taken to an area hospital for observation. Some of that could have been smoke inhalation, but those injuries could be far worse. It just depends on what is being determined right now. So as you're looking at these live pictures on your screen, you can see that smoke billowing up through the trees right there. That is the aftermath that you're seeing as fire crews are still right now actively working to put this fire out. The fight far from over, but this air quality and visibility issue seems like it's going to be something that's at least going to last us through most of the day, as this is still being worked on right now.
Yeah, we also heard from the officers from the city of Miami earlier as they start their investigation. They explained that this is a isolated incident, that the area is not in danger. We can listen back to what this officer had to say now. Okay, we're working on that. We will have that for you in a moment, but we can tell you that she said exactly that this was contained. This was an isolated incident, and I say that because this all started with that call about a man who had a gunshot wound to his abdominal area. You know what? We actually have the opportunity now to speak to fire officials. Captain Ignatius Carroll is able to speak to us right now, live on air. Iggy, it's been a very busy day. We heard from you earlier this morning. What is the situation like right now?
Hey, Alex. Yes, as you said, very busy. And right now we were able to control and extinguish most of the fire on one side of the building. And now what we're doing is concentrating efforts on that other side of it, the east side of the building, where the possibility for any fire extension to reach. So now we're focusing on that, and it's still considered what we call a defensive attack, just surrounding it as much as possible and putting as much water on it as we can.
Yeah, Iggy, I want to speak to that. You guys have been remarkable as far as containing this to that one building. We see the proximity of those buildings nearby. Just kind of talk to that firefight and how you guys were able to kind of set that border up so this did not spread. Because as we look at these live images, we know that this building is so close to so many others as well.
Yeah, you make a very good point. There's a lot of historical buildings in this area right next to this building. So when we go into a defensive attack, we also concentrate on protecting those adjacent structures. So you place firefighters with hose lines in there, actually putting water on the side of the buildings to keep the radiant heat from reaching and causing any damage. So that has been a focus once we went into a defensive attack, but also trying our best to keep this fire from spreading throughout that attic, which will cause another incident like you saw earlier.
Were you able to contain those flames to this one building? It seems like it from here.
Right. Well, as you can see, it's kind of a U-shaped building. So right now we're focusing on the building that's further to the east of the original one. But they're all connected. And when they're also connected, they're connected with a common attic. So that's a space that's not divided. So flames that, or any heat that's not being reached by water lines, it could travel until it makes its presence known, which is where you see, the smoke coming out, you see flames coming out from the eaves, or even if it came out from the roof. So that's what we're trying to do right now, is just try to get ahead of it and hopefully get it extinguished.
And Iggy, we saw multiple types of resources being pulled out. If you can speak to that. I know I saw foam on the ground. We saw several ladder trucks putting water on it from above. There was also trucks on the ground shooting water from the ground, and 70 plus firefighters. Just speak to the resources that you guys have pulled out this morning to fight this.
Right. Well, so just as you said, as far as the foam you see on there, we're using it in areas that you can't get inside the building with, so it will basically smother that. It smothers the fire itself. So using that foam in conjunction with the water from the ladder trucks that you see is trying to our best to try to get it extinguished as quickly as possible. But there is a lot of resources out here, so it's important that we monitor our firefighters, which is being taking place here as well.
You started off with 30 units, and I believe you said 70 firefighters. Is that still the case?
Yes, that is still the case. What we're doing is that rotating them to a rehab, so it gives them an opportunity to take a break, get some water. We monitor their vitals and stuff, and then we rotate them right back in again.
Was there a firefighter injured at one point?
So we did have 2 firefighters from smoke inhalation that were transported for observation at Jackson Memorial, and as well as a resident that we were able to take out of the building. We had to bring her down a ladder from her 3rd floor apartment, and we transported her for further evaluation.
Are they all 3 okay?
They were stable. It's just with smoke inhalation, if you took a large amount of it, you want to definitely get to the hospital so they can provide treatment to you.
And Iggy, we know the investigation into both of these incidents, the fire part versus the shooting part, have yet to begin. But what does that look like from your standpoint, or the fire marshal will come in and kind of assess how this started? What does that process look like after you guys finish your work today?
Well, what you're going to look at is a multi-agency investigation with Miami Police Department and the Miami Fire Department's Fire Investigations Unit. Once everything gets cleared out, then they'll start tracing things back to the information that was provided to them as far as where that victim was, and then also, if possible, where this fire originated from.
How much of it is contained at this point, would you say, if you had to give us a number?
Right now, I would say, well, the fire, what I can say as far as contained, it's contained to the structure itself. So surrounding structures are being protected. As far as it being extinguished, it's be kind of hard to give a percentage because you also got a large amount of smoke that's traveling around in the area.
Okay.
So it's really hard to tell, but I can just tell you that it's still ongoing. So it's not something that we have 100% under control.
Okay.
But we're getting the grasp on it as quickly as possible.
We don't have live images from up above right now because of the weather, so that's why thank you for giving us that information. We have recorded video, and so we know that it's probably looking better right now than it was even an hour ago.
Yeah, when it first started. And Iggy, when we started this, is it safe to say that part of that roof collapsed? I know it got worse progressively. Did something cave in on that 3rd floor?
Yeah, so when you're looking at the row of historical buildings along here, this building, we understand, is a wood frame structure that was obviously renovated over the years. So the rooftop of it, with the flames making its way through the attic, caused the roof to collapse. We also understood when firefighters were inside that they identified areas of the 3rd floor that was collapsing. So as a result, we had to have everybody to come out of the building. Now,
when the flames are in that attic area, it's going to consume everything and it's going to burn through it. But what contributes to the amount of fire that you see and the amount of smoke is the contents inside of the house. That is what is that you have burning. And since you can't send anybody inside of it, the only thing you can do is just try to get water into any openings that you can to try to extinguish it the best you can.
You think all the units here are destroyed, right?
Right now, I would say anything on the third floor is definitely either destroyed or very significant damage, fire damage to it, and a lot of water damage to the units below.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned the smoke. Do you have any advice for people who live in the area because of how smoky it is out there?
That's a very good question. We've been trying to encourage our media partners here just to let people know you're going to see a lot of smoke in the downtown area, and I also understand it travels in certain areas depending on the wind. That if they have any respiratory problems, close their windows. If they still feel that they're smelling or it's affecting them, then they probably should even consider to relocate to a different area until this is pretty much mitigated.
We just saw a man, Iggy, outside of his balcony, not that far from where this is happening. So that's not what you're suggested to do. Then there's someone now also looking outside their window. So if you're watching this, you are told to close your windows and try to stay inside because the smoke could be dangerous.
Yeah, air quality is certainly an issue down there this morning. Iggy, one more thing, if I can ask you. We heard the mayor touch on this briefly, the people who were evacuated, taken to Jose Marti Park. Are you aware of the resources they're receiving over there? I mean, I'd imagine the Red Cross has stepped in, right?
Right. The Red Cross is actually here on scene, and they're relocating them to Jose Marti Park because, you know, it gets them out of this operation area here. So a larger area that if they are reunited with any family members, that there's no difficulty in their family members getting to them.
Iggy, another question for you. I know we're taking a lot of your time right now, and thank you for speaking to us. We just had so many questions. But another question for you. That rescue mission must have been so challenging because you talked about some people having to shelter in place, others being rescued from their balconies, others walking through smoky hallways. Can you kind of paint a picture for us of what our first responders dealt with?
Well, we dealt with a mixed occupancy of individuals. You have some people that are young, and you have some people that are elderly, some with disabilities. So some that have difficulty trying to get out, some probably were not able to get out. So we had to assist in the best way we could, and that would be if we couldn't get them out of a window, if it was to try to put some kind of breathing apparatus on them and take them down the hallway. Some people were rescued from their balconies using ladders. So, and then some people already started to evacuate. So those are some of the challenges that the firefighters are facing, as well as trying to get to the seat of the fire to get it extinguished as quickly as possible. So you have both of those operations taking place simultaneously.
Yeah, you know, just watching this from when this first happened around 8:30 this morning, I have to say, job well done. Even though this fight's not over yet, you guys have done amazing containing this fire to this building, also making sure no lives were lost and getting all those people out of there, evacuating that building. So kudos to the Miami Fire Rescue for doing, you know, what you do best is, you know, showing up first and rescuing the people that need to be rescued. So good job on that as well, Iggy.
Yeah, and Iggy, are the men and women of the fire department, are they okay? Or do they have what they need right now to continue what they're doing?
So definitely, I thank you for checking up on them. Yeah, they definitely do. That's our number one priority is that, you know, to make sure that they have what they need so they can do their jobs. So they are definitely rehabbing themselves. We're watching out for them as well. And, you know, just hoping that we can get this mitigated soon.
Okay. Iggy, thank you again so much for taking the time. You're busy out there. I'll let you get back to work. But thank you for always informing us and keeping our community informed. And please tell our brave firefighters out there that we appreciate the work they're doing.
All right, again, that was Ignatius Carroll with the Miami Fire Rescue Department. You're getting a look at live pictures right now. This is above from what appears to be 7 Skyforce showing us those photos. This photo on your screen right now worth 1,000 words. If you look to the far right, you can see foam along the road. You still see those ladder trucks dousing those flames, or the smoke rather, from above. As you heard Iggy say from the Miami Fire Rescue, they're in what they call full defense mode, defense attack rather, still trying to put this out. He mentioned that this building is older, but it's been renovated over the years. It's in a U shape, but they all share a common attic. And so that's been the thing of how this spread or why it spread. You know, we saw this earlier on the 3rd floor. When we took this at 8:30 and broke into programming as far as a news alert and showed viewers that, I said, oh, it's contained to some air conditioning units. But now it's spread around that U shape of that attic. Iggy tells us they're focusing their attention on the east side of the building. He also mentioned that that 3rd floor is seeing some devastating damage this morning as well.
And now, for the very first time since this all started, you can see the building.
Yeah.
Really, you can see that U shape Iggy mentioned.
Yeah.
You can see where those firefighters are focusing on right now. He said this was a wood structure.
Yeah.
So this fire spread quickly. And he talked about those rescues, how challenging they were, but they were able to rescue everybody. Also very important to know right now, there is a lot of smoke in this area, and you are advised not to be outside because of the smoke. If you have respiratory issues, take this very seriously because this could be dangerous. You are urged to stay inside, keep your windows closed. This is not something to mess with. We're talking about 3 transports that happened because of smoke inhalation, 2 firefighters and 1 resident. Now we know that information because Captain Carroll just told us. That is in addition to the 1 man who had a gunshot wound who was transported and is now in critical condition. You have seen this all unfold right here on Today in Florida on 7 News. We've showed you this from the beginning to right now. And truthfully, Tavares, the work is just getting started.
Yeah, 2 investigations are underway. Placing displaced people into homes or wherever resources they can get this morning as this continues to play out. We'll continue our coverage right here on 7 News at noon. You can also follow the very latest developments today on side of the 7 News mobile app and at WSVN.com.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Diarmas.
I'm Tavares Jones. We'll see you shortly here on 7 News at noon.
Can we go forward just a touch? Just a touch. Hello, hello. All right. They say there's 2 video clips that I'm supposed to call for, so if you can make sure they're there, that would be much appreciated. Yeah, you guys have asked repeatedly if the fire department is making any visible progress, and we can report at this hour that they have done a remarkable job, and we're seeing that visible progress here. West 3rd Street, right off of the Miami River here and just west of I-95. And you see firefighters with apparatus
and water streams still firing loads of water at this structure here. This is a 3-story complex here that caught fire early this morning. 2 calls almost simultaneously at the same address. One was for the fire, and one was for a gunshot wound victim that was discovered here when the fire department responded. So the police came out here. They quickly cordoned off the entire area around this building here. It's a U-shaped building that was built a long, long time ago. It's a wooden structure, wooden attics, a lot of stuff to burn when it does catch fire, and that was the case here, as more than 70 firefighters and 30 pieces of equipment responded here to this fire. We have 2 pieces of video, 2 video clips. We want to show you what it looked like when we first got here, and it was a blaze. It was a blaze with smoke so heavy and so thick and consistent. It was going across I-95, and there were traffic at one point was slowing down a little bit, especially in the southbound lanes there closer to the fire. That kind of cleared a little bit as the wind shifted a little bit. We had rain come through here at one point, and there were some hopes that that would assist the firefighters. At one time we saw at least 7 streams of water flowing from aerial platforms, ladder trucks, water cannons on the backs of the engines. They had every possible source. At one point they contacted Miami-Dade County and asked them, the water department, and asked them to increase the water pressure here to its max so that they would have enough water to supply all of the trucks and assets that were here. A foam evolution, that's when they bring, for example, at the airport, when they have a big fire and they have certain chemicals that they need to put out that specific type of fire. They had a foam evolution here where they were actually pumping foam through those water cannons there and getting it, spreading it on the fire. At one point, the fire got so intense and so bad, they had to go into what's called the defensive posture, where they get everybody out of the building for firefighter safety. They were able to evacuate 49 people out, several people taken to the hospital for treatment for minor injuries and or smoke inhalation, including a couple of firefighters. We're hearing that everybody so far is in pretty good condition. Our second piece of video we want to show you, if we haven't already done that, is of some heavy flames at one point. I've lost the subject matter there, but anyway, it was just incredible fire here. A big fire, 3-story building catches fire and burns. Come back out to our live picture. I know we have other reporters anxious to get their words in there, so we're going to go ahead and toss it back to you. That's our story here in Skyforce HD. I'm Ralph Raven reporting live.
And Ralph, when we were talking about how large this fire was, Miami Mayor Francis Suarez mentioned we haven't had a fire like this in the city of Miami in 25 years. You mentioned dozens of people were rescued, they evacuated. It's our understanding that they're at Jose Marti Park. Can you tell us a little bit about what comes next for some of them? I understand they were going to be receiving food and some essentials.
Yeah, they apparently set up a provisions, and the American Red Cross obviously was notified, and other agencies that are assistance agencies are set up, and they're at Jose Marti Park, which is right down the river, I believe, across the street from where we are here. They have that already in place, and they're gathering information. They have to go through now, and the logistical work is the nightmare portion of this. There are people who have the capacity to take information, to talk to everybody, to find out who lives where, who did what personal belongings they were able to get, who the insurance agents are. There'll be claims adjusters all over the place at some point down there. All kinds of things that'll happen. These people's lives have been turned upside down by this fire, and it's going to take a while to get it sorted. These are the angels, the people that come and help these people in difficult times sort this thing out and figure out exactly what the next step is. So there's a long process that's just getting started down there.
Ralph, you mentioned logistics too. Obviously the fire is the focus right now, and for good reason, and the displaced people who live there. Also, what are you seeing on the ground as far as traffic being impeded at all, people being held back and kept away from this area?
Well, I'll bring the camera way back out here. I don't know if I had the extender in or not. Okay, you can see the Miami River, bottom of the screen right there, okay? You do see traffic here on the left-hand side of the screen moving. Everything is moving away from the fire area, from the river on the west side all the way to I-95. Just that one block area right there has been closed off for firefighters. They have to run hoses down the street. Look at some of these hose runs here, 300, 400 feet from one fire hydrant just to get it to the engine pumper there, and that they build up pressure so that they can get that water up to the higher elevations to get water on top of the fire. So traffic just in that one block area from 4th to 3rd, and from the river to I-95 is the area that's impacted at this time.
All right, Ralph Rayburn there reporting above the scene there. We want to move now to 7's Jordan Segundo. Jordan, you've been there from the very start. Tell us, how are things looking now?
Yeah. You know, things are still very active. 7 was first on scene this morning when this fire was first reported. We were just across the street in downtown when we got the call to come over here. And when we got here, we did see residents making their way over to Loomis Park, about 40 to 50 residents being evacuated from the apartment building behind me. I'll show you what's happening right now because the firefight is still going on. You can see from the ground, firefighters using their hose and firefighters up in the ladder still trying to get this blaze completely under control. We're still seeing some dark smoke and some flames coming from that 3-story building. Again, it was a massive fire that was first reported just before 8:30 this morning that is still burning nearly 3 hours later. We'll show you some aerial views that you've been seeing all morning long and just how big that structure is. And again, just how massive that fire has been burning all morning long. We had firefighters on the ground, about 70 of them, trying to fight the fire, and of course multiple ladders all around that building. Luckily, the fire was contained just to that one structure there, so that is the good news there. But again, multiple units completely damaged, not just with fire, but with water as well. When we first came, we did see, again, residents coming through, about 40 to 50. Luckily, no one suffered any major injuries, but smoke inhalation as well. And we did see some firefighters being transported to the hospital. But again, this is going to continue as we go throughout the afternoon. And we did hear from the police that when they first arrived to the scene, there were actually, we're going to do some shots here. Let's listen to what the mayor had to say.
Over 40 units of our department are deployed. As you can see, multiple angles to attack the fire, but this is a 3-alarm fire. We haven't had one in 25 years. And so this is something that is obviously a large event for us, and they're doing a heroic job in dealing with it, including rescuing residents throughout this incident.
We just want to make sure that everyone knows that this is a unified command. So we are working very closely with the fire department and making sure that everyone is safe, everyone feels secure. This is an isolated incident. We need the public to understand that. It is still very active with everything, but we don't want people to be alarmed. And we are handling it to the best of our abilities.
We went to a defensive strategy because it is too dangerous for the firefighters to work inside at this point. We're working together with police. We're trying to account for all the number of residents, how many lived in the building. We're working with Red Cross.
Again, this was a 3-alarm fire, and we do have video of one firefighter being transported to the hospital, being treated for smoke inhalation. When we arrived on the scene, we did see multiple firefighters resting against this metal fence here, just trying to catch their breath because, as you can imagine, you've been hearing the weather. It has been very hot out here, so firefighters fighting that fire, definitely dealing with the elements. We also had some heavy showers passing through as well, even getting our camera equipment to not work for a little while, but luckily we got it up here. But live on the scene, firefighters still battling the blaze. But I do want to go back to the initial call. It was a call for a fire that was on the 3rd floor, but when responders did arrive, they did find one man shot in the torso. He has been taken to the hospital in critical condition. The investigation, though, will go on as to whether or not they're looking for a suspect or if it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and if that gunshot suspect was connected to the start of this fire in any way. But again, the fire is still burning here in downtown Miami on Northwest 3rd Street, and we'll continue to be out here as the firefighters battle the blaze. You can see water all over the ground, foam as well, just kind of taking over the entire street here. Even the media had to have been pushed back as it has been very active all morning long. But 7 first on scene as this fire took over this entire complex right here in downtown Miami.
All right, Jordan, and our team coverage moves now to 7's Elita Bezios. She's on the ground as well. She's been speaking with people who live in that area who have also been impacted by this. Elita.
That's right. As you can imagine, as the smoke, as the flames broke out, police, fire rescue, they went to these homes along the street that neighbor this building that caught fire this morning and were asked to leave. I'm going to show you what's happening now down this street here. We are along Northwest 4th Street near Northwest 5th Avenue, so not far from where this building is, but you can see just a big plume of smoke coming through here as firefighters on the other side continue to work this, continue to try and put this fire out completely. If we can go to video, you can see what things look like earlier this morning. The fire from above, that fire Firefighters telling us spreading quickly through the main area of the roof. All of this happening at that apartment complex there between Northwest North River Drive and Northwest 4th on 3rd Street. So a very busy area, an area that people know very well. And as firefighters responded to this, not only was the fire happening, but they also found someone who was shot. As you heard police saying there, this is not something to necessarily be alarmed about because they say it is isolated. And going back to the fire, several people, they were trapped inside. They were rescued, and some were even having to shelter in place because of disability. So over 50 people evacuated, and Miami Fire Rescue saying one of them was taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. Also, 2 firefighters taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. And again, another aspect of all of this, while our focus does remain on the people who had to be rescued inside the building, another aspect is the neighboring apartment buildings, the neighboring homes. Again, they were asked to leave this morning when this fire broke out. Here's what one person saw this morning. Take a listen.
I just seen a lot of smoke, and I heard obviously a lot of sirens and stuff. I saw people coming out, some panicking, some not. And I just seen a lot of flames, and my first reaction was like, damn, like what's going on, you know? And I just hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody got out on time.
And thankfully, many people rescued from there, and most, from what we have heard, are doing okay. There's a reunification center that has been set up at Jose Marti Park at 351 Southwest 4th Avenue. That is, people are being moved there, happening now, the reunifications, and anyone who needs help should be going there. Back out here live along 4th Street. We're not far from the actual building where firefighters are battling the blaze. Here you can see there's smoke coming across the way. So as you can imagine, the people in this area, they've come outside, they've come to take a look. But as you know, we've been saying on air, if you have respiratory issues, there is really no need to be outside right now because the smell of smoke is heavy in the air. So if you have asthma, respiratory issues, it is a little difficult to breathe out here. But along this street here, you can still see first responders here and just working this to make sure that fire is totally put out. For now, we're live in Miami. Lisa Bizio, 7 News.
Our continuing coverage moves now to Ralph Rayburn. He is above that complex with a look from 7 Sky Force. Ralph.
Yeah, you guys revealed some information, and Ignatius Carroll did also, about this building and its construction and how old it is, and building techniques that were used back in the day there, including that common attic aspect of it, where the entire roof line there of that horseshoe spreads all the way around from the west side here, comes towards the north, and then crosses over to the east side. And it looks like the fire is following the attic here. At least that's what we can see from up here. An area that was not on fire this morning, the what would be the eastern wing of this horseshoe shape here, is now showing those signs of the same type of smoke and flames that we saw earlier this morning. So firefighters are moving pieces of equipment into position over on that side. There is a tower here, a service tower right here. We believe it handles the water flow for inside the building. Those 2 big red pumps there on the water tower roof right there. There's flames coming up through there, and then we're going to show you where we had very considerable dissipation of smoke about a half an hour ago. It is starting to pick up again and moving there off to the northeast. So more fire, more flames, more smoke. As we get more information, we'll get it back to you. That's our story here in Skyforce HD. I'm Ralph Rayburn reporting live.
And Ralph, when we spoke to fire officials earlier today, they did mention that the location was a challenge because it didn't allow for much mobility getting the fire trucks to the streets. Can you talk a little bit about that and the setup regarding location?
Well, they have that 1 block area cordoned off to allow firefighters access. Obviously, when they first show up, they're going to where the fire is at that hour. So at 8:30 in the morning, everybody was set up at this building here on the west side, or the western, what we're now calling the western wing of this building, this 3-story building, and they were concentrating their efforts there. And they did bring that fire. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of it burning right there right now. But then, as a consequence of that, because of that common attic and that common shared area there, it has moved now across and transitioned. There you see some flames right there. as we move towards the eastern side of the building, where there is still a considerable portion of the roof that appears to still be intact until you get all the way over here to the eastern portion, and you can see they really are concentrating a lot of water in that area. So it has moved, the fire has moved, and it's a naturally occurring thing here. It's going to burn wherever the fuel source is, so that's what's burning right now, but a tremendous amount of smoke being created right now as firefighters continue to try to get the upper hand.
Ralph Rayburn reporting live from 7 Skyforce overhead for us. Ralph, thank you. All right, a live look at downtown Miami now. Just one spot.
Okay. This building right over here that I'm shooting out the front on the river, it has a swimming pool. You see where it is? Right? That's Jose Marti Park. That's where it's a reunification center for all the victims. So at some point, not right now, but at some point we're going to go over there and see if there's anybody showing up or whatever.
That is the case. In others, it appears that we have a fire that has spread a little.
Earlier, that's where there were 40 plus people that were evacuated from the building, and it was a very precarious time early this morning. Now we have fire in the other side of the horseshoe. That's this area right over here. You can see that seems to be where the firefighters are concentrating the fire streams that they're putting, the water that they're putting on, and we're seeing more smoke being generated from that side of the fire. For folks just tuning in, or maybe who aren't familiar with what happened here, fire broke out early this morning. Fire department responded out here. At the same time, there was a call of a shooting in this area. There was one person that was treated and transported for a gunshot wound. The fire quickly spread. Fire department sent over 30 pieces of equipment, 70 firefighters at an earlier hour. There's probably even more here on the scene now, trying to bring this fire under control. At one point, having to resort to foam to deal with some of the older construction materials that were used in this building that was built way back and had apparently been renovated later years. So all those people had been moved over to the Jose Marti Park. There's an area where people get back together with their families and with loved ones. The American Red Cross is set up over there. We had storms come through here at one point. Some rain did not knock the fire down as everybody was hoping. The fire department has continued valiantly to do their work here diligently. Firefighters running through air bottles just constantly. At some point earlier in the fire, it became too dangerous for them inside because of possibilities of a ceiling collapse or an attic collapse. So they pulled all the firefighters out and went into an aggressive defensive posture to try to bring the fire under control. They protected all the perimeter and all the surrounding buildings to make sure that the fire did not spread. At this hour, they continued to battle what we're now calling the eastern blaze, the eastern side of this building here, as you can see them concentrating their water streams in that area. We had several people injured, including 2 firefighters. Most of the injuries were concerns for smoke inhalation. That seems to be the primary thing, especially in a firefight like this. As we said just moments ago, the firefight continues. That's our story here in Skyforce HD. I'm Ralph Roden reporting live. Direction control, we're off the pro channel if you want us to get us on the radio. Thank you. Well, they finally went to something besides the fire. Yes. What was his last? Thank you, and we didn't get anything after the compliment. Thank you very much. What's next? Okay, very good. I actually can switch over to their thing because we kind of eavesdrop on them once in a while when we're bored. Thank you. We appreciate it. Actually, it's just that square or rectangular block around. Everything else appears to be moving north and south. And we were looking over. This is Jose Marti Park right here, and we were looking for reunification happening, but we're just seeing normal traffic. I guess where people get off work or whatever. Okay, thanks for your help. just a tiny bit to the south, just a little bit, so I see that edge, the south edge of the building. Thank you. That's good right there. That's fine. Chris on the desk when he's talking? No. Very good. Okay. You might want to turn that up because you guys are repeating one another. I appreciate all the help, but it's a lot of stuff to listen to up here. Stand by. Yeah, as the fire continues to burn on the eastern side of this U-shaped three-story building that caught fire this morning around 8:30. Fire department officials, City of Miami fire rescue people here have been able to knock down a considerable amount of the fire and flames that were burning earlier today. And because of that, we now have a little bit better of a glimpse here. We'll zoom in here. We mentioned in one of our multiple reports here that the roof was on fire and that it was going to collapse there due to the fuel that it provides for flames, and also from the water that's put on the fire to put it out. And it did collapse. So you can see those are air conditioners that are mounted, would have been mounted on the roof. And then you can see the interiors of some of the building there. All of those little squares, those are sections of wood that would divide rooms. That's the way they built these residences back in the day. And you can see as we pan along here that that's exactly what happened here all the way across when that roof collapsed. One of the reasons why the firefighters had to pull themselves out of the fire building and fire from a defensive posture. Now what's happened, as we reported a little short time ago, is that the fire moved from the western building here, which is right here, to the eastern building. And you see right there, firefighters now concentrating the streams of water there. Pretty heavy flames and smoke coming out of what is we're calling the eastern side of the building, of that horseshoe right there. In the entire area here, that roof is still intact. And what's going to happen now is probably a similar procedure as happened before. They'll continue to put water on the fire. They're just trying to keep it from spreading any farther. But when you're fighting from the outside of the building and the fire is inside, you're going to have a difficult time of bringing that fire quickly under control. They have brought that one section of the building there, just some small plumes of smoke, but the eastern side continues to burn. We mentioned earlier, we gave some numbers, 70 firefighters, 30 pieces of equipment at an earlier hour. We're here. There probably even more as we get a big plume of smoke here coming through one of the portico windows right it's in the corner. Okay, yes, very good. Thanks. Yeah, this is not the best angle. You know, I mean, it's just the smoke is blowing through. That's all right. You know what? We only got a couple of this. Never mind. That's pretty good, yeah. Good. Hey, Joe's got his little office set up out there in the hangar. No, Joe. Your desk. Right, that's it. I'm going to get him a little time clock thing that he can punch.
All right. So, Yale was telling me if there's any other audio available. I did find there's actually scanner audio from Miami Fire Department. So, I can get that on. Just give me a second. Let me pull it up here. I've been watching. I'm streaming the trial on the main channel, but I've been watching to see what's going on here. It's crazy to see how huge this fire's turned out to be. Let's see top feeds. And it sucks for the people that live there. Now, who did this? I don't like, because there was a person that was shot and taken to the hospital. So I don't know, did the shooter light this place up? Because I don't know, some other stories in certain cases. Sometimes I've seen people like light up a place, a house, or whatever, to try to like hide the evidence of trying to shoot somebody, kill somebody, whatever. Let me play this Miami Fire Rescue. Let's see.
Hey, Trey, I see some fire.
Yeah. Okay.
The building to your left. I can see some fire through the windows on here.
This is better than listening to that
that
helicopter audio. At least you can listen to the scanner audio.
yourself.
Somebody in the chat, and I haven't confirmed this, somebody in the chat said that this is like the biggest fire in the last 25 years. I think they're
Rescue 2 responding. 5400 Ponce is going to be the Metro Rail on the platform.
Chief, be advised, I got crews from rehab taking supplies around to Charlie Division.
that really sucks for the people that have all kinds of
Provide them
property
with
in there.
hydration and,
What's a wood structure?
yourself.
It's a wood structure? Wait, no, what?
Thank you.
Is that? Looks like concrete.
Division to Alpha, be advised. Charlie Division is par, complete.
Holy crap. Angel says she lives in an apartment building that's over 100 years old.
Engine on fire line number 8 Northeast to 7th Street, number 8 Northeast to 7th Street.
There are no firewalls.
Engine on fire line number 8
Roof
Northeast to 7th Street, 1254
Oh, it did. Holy crap. It looks like that, yeah. Oh. Wow.
That's QSL, thank you.
Oh, he's saying how he knows Alberts. Okay, I'm going to get back to listening.
The rebel.
Yes, I rescue 9. Miami Rescue 23, Rescue 23.
Wow. Oh, yeah, the boss.
In the Miami.
I think because I'm on the other page.
Rescue 23, try to respond. 26-year-old female with abdominal pain. 1800 Northwest 196.
Command, this is Miami Blue.
Command all units for the dual far. Please give me your unit, number of personnel, and where you're located, what you're assigned right now, currently. Commander Foam 1, far.
36.
Command to Aerial 1, are you far?
Aerial 1 is par on the Bravo side.
QSL, Command Engine 3, you far? Commander Rescue 22, far. Command Heavy Rescue 6, far.
Heavy Rescue 6, par 4, and staging.
Commander Rescue 16, far.
16 par, 2 on the south side, 1 in the hospital.
SQSO Rescue 16, you're part 2. Commander Rescue 25, part. Rescue 25, part. 25, where are you? 25 far rehab.
Miami to command.
Go ahead, Miami.
We just had engine 3 go off on the Mayday channel. Can you verify if they're 2 or...
SQSO, I just had him at far. Command engine 3. You got a Mayday button going off. Engine 3 to command, we're good. We're far. It was an accident. USO. Command to engine 4, far. Aerial 1. QSO. Command to aerial 4, far.
Target invasive.
QSO. Rescue 21, are you far?
QSO 21 far, everyone.
SQSO 24, Rescue 24, you far?
QSO 24 is part 2 at rehab, and I have my third member, Vargas, in the bucket of aerial 4.
SQSO. Commander Rescue 3, far?
QSO engine 11, that was for county, engine 11.
To Rescue 3, are you far?
Rescue 23 to command.
The end of the live feed.
23, go ahead.
Let's see if I can find another one. Oh,
Command Rescue 3 took a patient, and then they went all night.
SQSO. Rescue 23, are you far?
We have 2 members at rehab, and I'm on the opposite side of the building.
SQSO.
I have another one.
Rescue
Hold
5,
on.
are you far?
First Coast News.
Miami to Rescue 13.
County Rescue 13.
We're available.
QSO.
Look at the roof. Roof is gone.
EMS2, I'm with Rescue 5. They are far 3. QSO. Commander Rescue 14, far.
Miami Show Rescue 26, arrival right at trauma.
Yes.
3 at medical station.
Engine 7, are you far?
Engine 7's far. Alpha Bravo corner. 4 members. Standing by at staging.
QSO. Rescue 20, are you far? At QSO. Commander Medical, you at Rescue 28? Rescue 28, War Part 3 at reallocation, Chief. QSO. Commander Quinten, you far?
Quinten, par 4 at Alpha Division, flowing Quinten.
At QSO. All units are far. Thank you.
Ford engine 7 driver.
Chris B, go ahead. Go to your truck right now. I'll talk to you face to face.
Aerial 9, arrival, high-rise residential, nothing showing. Code 3 investigate. Show Aerial 9 command.
Yes, Aerial 9, show your arrival, code 3, nothing showing, Aerial 1, Aerial 9 command. I mean, the County Rescue 1.
Aerial 9, AG. Aerial 9, AG. He's going to be...
County Rescue 1, County Rescue 1.
Miami-Dade, engine 11.
County Engine 11, QSK.
Be advised, two-way pickup calls. We're going to be on arrival with Rescue 7, whatever calls wrong.
27 to Aerial 9 command. The next pumper is going to be a county pumper. That's QSL. QSL, command, everyone, we're low on air. We're going to go ahead and get down. If you can get us a fresh crew, we'll take this opportunity.
QSL, go ahead and make your way down, and I'll get somebody to relieve you.
QSL on the way down.
QSL, Area 1 is going to relieve Rescue 21.
Miami-Dade, Rescue 1.
Department's going to be 3006. I have Engine 8 and Aerial 9 crew as fire attack. QSL, Rescue 2, rescue.
Northwest 18th Street, 3252 Northwest 18th Street. Rescue 30 Delta response, 32-year-old male unconscious, 3252 Northwest 18th Street, 1306.
Right.
23. Stated QTH 1810 Northwest 19 Terrace, 1810 Northwest 19 Terrace.
Trying to do with the straight stream. I was trying to pierce through.
There's an opening there. Let's hit it through the opening in the front. That's where I got most of the heat coming out on the plane. Those openings, there's one in the alpha side and run just to the left of it. If you have a stick, you'll find it. That's where I got most of the heat. If you hit it right there.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm gonna have to lower my angle so I can get it up.
Engine 7 driver. Go ahead and charge the line again. Charge the line. The 5-inch.
GSO, engine 17, water coming.
Point 8 arrival, point 8 command. 13. You're waiting?
Sure, so it's going to be 3881 West Flagler Street, 3881 West Flagler Street, Unit 102 for 73-year-old female with chest pain.
Go to the left a little bit.
In Fort Miami, container ship Ornell Master dropped in line to the west end of the gantry terminal. Be proceeding westbound to Loomistown turning base.
Aerial 9, SQ7, and engine 8. QSL.
Aerial 1, go ahead.
Hey, we went ahead and replaced that first line. We're ready to give you water whenever you're ready. Let me know.
QSL.
Aerial 9, Rescue 7, Engine 8, 07.8, Rescue 10, 0.807. Rescue 10, 07.
United to Miami.
Okay.
Miami, we are closer to 44th Street and 12th Ave. You guys put us on that alarm.
The only the electrical fan we have is that red box fan that says Aerial 5. It should be on the officer side. Large compartment, not the transverse, the one before it. And the junction boxes should be right above that on the little 12 by 12 hatch.
I'm good. I'm bringing off the front right now. I'll check back in another 15 minutes.
Okay, let me know when you need to change. I got the engine guys ready to go up.
Rescue 13 to Miami, Rescue 13, could you repeat QTH?
You guys ready for water?
Stand by, we have to find the sneak up first. And we'll advise my driver, will let you know. We're climbing the ladder right now.
QSR, let us know.
Rescue 10, KSK.
Miami, I see you have CR13 going to 3881 West Flagler Street.
So I was just getting ready to switch you. Show you responding 3881 West Flagler Street, 3881 West Flagler Street, Unit 102, Rescue 10.
QSL, 10 responders.
Hey Steve, could you send like a rescue back here to do some rehab checks for our guys back here? Because we have no medical rehab back here at all for these guys.
That's yourself. I will send a crew back there right now. How you guys doing with food and and hydration.
We got food and water. I need to find out about their bottles, but yeah, just to have some type of medical entity back here for them.
That's just what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to have an Alpha rehab. I'm going to establish a Charlie rehab. I'll have them report to you. Trisha?
Yourself, thank you.
New breach.
No, Aerial 9 to Aerial 909. Can you confirm that there's an active fire alarm over there? I'm getting nothing here on the panel.
Engine 4, Area 1, let us know when you're ready for water.
Yourself, I would advise.
When you can send water.
Commander, Rescue 22. Harley Division 2, Aerial 5.
Shut up.
Aerial 1D to Engine 4, give me
Oh,
water.
they left. Oh, hell no.
Engine 4D, you got water in the line.
They left.
Rescue man Rebel.
Oh, there's something else. I don't know what that is. What the?
Commander, Rescue 22. Rescue 22, if you're done with rehab, you guys can go ahead and clear the scene. Go ahead and back up your gear. Give it to Hooker Gear Trailer.
That's good, so we're preparing to demote.
Close arrival, doctors.
1316, Cradles.
Did it take a reset or not?
Your arrival, Jack.
Yes, that's 23.
The Aerial 1 bucket, you got to open up all the way on the valve.
Yourself, doing that now.
Command to Rescue 22. 22, go ahead. Hey, are you guys going to be able to leave the scene where your truck is spotted? Or are you guys locked in?
We're gonna be locked in, Chief. It seems that we got the 5-inch holes there. We're gonna be stuck.
That's QSL. You can disregard about going home.
One is already on scene. Show me on that.
Bruh. I guess this is over. This is Dr. Disrespect.
29 has arrived.
I guess that's it for now. Let me look real quick. If they come back with another feed or an update or a press commit, I'm sure they're gonna do a press conference later, maybe. I'll come back and update it. I want to know who lit this, how this fire started, who started it. Just a coincidence? There's somebody shot outside? I don't think so. I think there's something going on here. Fishy. All right. So I'll catch you guys later. Please like and subscribe. If there's a press conference or an update later, I'll come back.
Come on down.
All right.
You want
Peace,
to
guys.